Milton has made landfall just south of Florida's Tampa Bay with a major threat to life and property as it hammers the state with destructive storm surge, devastating wind damage, potentially catastrophic flooding rainfall and several tornadoes. Prime Minister Modi will begin his two-day official visit to Laos in Southeast Asia to attend the annual ASEAN-India Summit. He will also attend the East Asia Summit as New Delhi's Act East policy gains momentum. Tensions in West Asia escalated further as Israel reported that Hezbollah launched more than 100 rockets and missiles targeting civilians in the Haifa region. 2 people were killed in northern Israel. Israel's military has also said that its troops had eliminated terrorists during close-quarter encounters and in aerial strikes over the previous 24 hours, adding that 100 Hezbollah terror targets were destroyed. Aerial bombardments, meanwhile, have been going on in Beirut. My colleague Mohammad Ghazali reports from the front lines. Ratan Tata, a titan of the Indian industry, takes his final bow. He passed away at the Breach Candy Hospital in Mumbai last week. Brazil's Supreme Court cleared X to resume service in the country after the social media platform reversed course and started complying with court rulings that billionaire owner Elon Musk had previously vowed to resist. Our big focus, Prime Minister Modi will travel to the capital of Laos for a 2-day visit to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. Sources indicate that the Prime Minister will likely meet the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, but this will be the first overseas trip for Mr. Ishiba, who was made Prime Minister just last week. There has also been speculation as to whether our Prime Minister will meet Chinese Premier Li Qiang on the margins of the East Asia Summit. However, there was no official word from both sides on the possibility of such a meeting. A packed diplomatic schedule for New Delhi as the Prime Minister touches down in Laos for 2 days. In fact, we are hearing of key bilateral meetings to happen on the sidelines. He will be in the capital for a 2-day visit to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. In fact, our sources have indicated that there may be a meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the new Japanese Prime Minister, who has just assumed office last week. In fact, there has also been chatter about whether Prime Minister Modi will meet Li Qiang, the Chinese Premier, on the margins of the East Asia Summit, but we are still waiting for an official word from both sides on the possibility of such a meeting. In fact, given the backdrop of India marking a decade of the Act East policy this year, many say that Prime Minister Modi's touchdown in Laos is very crucial. We are going to keep a close eye on the agenda and all that unfolds in this Southeast Asian nation. In fact, territorial tensions in the South China Sea and the civil war in Myanmar are expected to be high up on the agenda for discussion as leaders meet on this 2-day summit. Many also argue that the Southeast Asia region actually remains at the geopolitical and economic heart of the competition between America and China. But I must also inform you that Joe Biden will not be in attendance for this summit. Territorial tensions in the South China Sea expected to be high up on the agenda, a priority to discuss along with the civil war that's unfolding in Myanmar. There are also plans to discuss a ceasefire plan and a mediation among the warring factions in Myanmar, for which we are still awaiting clarity. But the Prime Minister expected to touch down in Laos for 2 days, where he is expected to hold some crucial meetings with his counterparts. We are, of course, waiting for an official word whether he will be meeting the Chinese Premier as well. In other news, Hurricane Milton made a landfall as a dangerous Category 3 storm in the U.S. in Florida's central west coast. Milton had sustained winds of 120 miles per hour at landfall. In fact, the Hurricane Center warned those in Tampa and St. Petersburg areas to shelter in place as extremely dangerous hurricane-force winds were spreading through the area. But you must note that more than 1 million homes and businesses are without power within an hour of this landfall. But Milton's arrival comes 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene hit the Gulf Coast as a Category 4 storm, and that killed at least 225 people across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. Now, Hurricane Milton has finally made landfall as a dangerous Category 3 storm on Florida's central west coast. In fact, it had sustained winds of 120 miles per hour at landfall. The Hurricane Center warned those in Tampa, around Florida and St. Petersburg areas to shelter in place as extremely dangerous hurricane forces were at play, causing more than 1 million homes and businesses to stay without power within an hour of the landfall. It's been quite destructive. In fact, it's grown larger. Initially, the initial estimates were supposed to be not as devastating, but that was later revised. Florida residents in the path of the hurricane were instructed to hunker down as the massive storm hit the state. Let's turn our attention now to the Middle East. Well, tensions in the Middle East escalated further as Israel reported that Hezbollah launched more than 100 rockets and missiles targeting civilians in the greater Haifa region. In fact, 2 people were killed in northern Israel. NDTV's Mohammad Ghazali reports from the front lines in Lebanon.
And I'll ask my camera person to come closer, keep walking. This is the site you see here. These are the areas where the strikes have happened. These are the residential areas, and we are right now in Beirut. We are not away from the city. It is very close to the city center, and you can see these damaged areas. The report suggests, the Israeli media or the Israeli army claims that they had killed one of the commanders of Hezbollah. But we spoke to certain people here. The locals suggest that this is a residential building. They claim that perhaps it was not related anyway to the Hezbollah, because Hezbollah's stronghold is in some other part and not in the residential areas of or in the city areas of Beirut. Now, what has been happening since yesterday? We saw the deputy chief, or say the next in command, Naim Qasim of the Hezbollah, addressing the Lebanese TV channel yesterday, saying that our capacity is still intact. We have still the fighters there on the southern suburbs of Lebanon who are engaged in a ground combat with the Israeli forces. And then there were fires exchange. There has been a fierce gun battle which has been going on near the southern suburb of Beirut. But if you see here through visuals, I'll try to show you, and my camera person Adam will show you here. This is the kind of damage which has been inflicted by these aerial strikes. This is a multi-story building, and you see those damage there through the aerial strikes. People are still staying in this building. We see those damaged cars, and this has been the impact of these aerial strikes. Right now we are reporting from Nabi Yunus, an area in the south of Lebanon, and behind me, if you see, this is the kind of impact civilian buildings have been inflicted, or the kind of damage it has suffered due to the aerial strike. And right now, if you'll see here, there are people around. I'll show you through visuals that this used to be a family here, and you see these members here. This is the picture of the family which used to stay here, and what we are being told that around 5 people were killed in this aerial strike on Saturday, and more than 20 injured. And right now, we'll try to show you that is still the rubble is getting cleared while the occupied territory of Palestine and its forces, the, the occupation forces across the border claim that this was a house which had militants, but what we're being told that this is a civilian residential area. An aerial bombardment has just damaged this entire house here. Right now they're expecting that perhaps this will not have this will not be extended, but they also fear that the worst is yet to come. In J. Bani Nabi Yunus in southern Lebanon, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have held a much anticipated 30-minute phone call, believed to be their first contact since August, which included discussions on Israel's intended retaliation to Iran's missile strike last week. The White House described the dialogue as direct and productive and said Biden and Netanyahu had agreed to stay in close contact in coming days. In fact, Vice President Kamala Harris also joined that call. Speaking shortly afterwards, Israel's defense minister said its attack against Iran would be deadly, precise, and above all, surprising. Analysts point out that two forces are at work. One is Joe Biden's reluctance to see the United States dragged into a war with Iran that it believes would be unnecessary and dangerous. The other is a strong sense among some in Israel that they have an opportunity to deal a body blow to Iran, their mortal enemy.
What I can tell you is they had a discussion. They continued their discussion on a response to Iran's attack. A discussion last week, a discussion that certainly started at the staff level, and now the two leaders were able to have a productive, a straightforward, honest conversation, as they tend to do. I don't have anything beyond that.
Meanwhile, as I mentioned, Prime Minister Modi will travel to the capital of Laos for a two-day visit to attend the 21st ASEAN-India Summit and the 19th East Asia Summit. Well, for further clarity on what to expect, we have with us strategic affairs expert Brahma Chelani. Thank you so much, sir, as always, for joining us on NDTV. Now, given the backdrop of India marking a decade of the Act East policy this year, how crucial would you say the Prime Minister's touchdown in Laos is?
ASEAN is holding a series of summits with its dialogue partners. In addition to holding its own annual summit, it's also holding summits with India, the US, China, Russia. But China and Russia normally don't send their own leaders to these annual summits with ASEAN. As far as the US president is concerned, he's not coming.
For the second time
The US presidents normally don't attend each and every summit with ASEAN or the East Asia Summit. So Joe Biden is skipping this year's US-ASEAN Summit as well as the East Asia Summit. But it's good that Prime Minister Modi will be attending the India-ASEAN Summit as well as the East Asia Summit.
Sir, but many argue that Southeast Asia remains now at the geopolitical and economic heart of the competition between America and China. So by ignoring the East Asia Summit, as Joe Biden is doing for the second year in a row, do you believe it carries serious risks?
The fact is that the US is getting more and more involved in the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. So it's unable to generally pivot to Asia and the wider Indo-Pacific region. 3 successive American presidents have committed to shifting America's primary focus to the Indo-Pacific region because the new world order will be determined not in Europe or the Middle East, but in the Indo-Pacific, which has become the world's economic and geopolitical hub. And yet, Biden too has failed to generally pivot to Asia and the wider Indo-Pacific region. And this can only be to the detriment of America's own long-term interests because it creates more space for Chinese expansionism.
Right. We're also hearing, sir, that territorial tensions in the South China Sea, as well as the civil war in Myanmar, will also be on the table. Now, while ASEAN has proposed a peace plan that calls for a ceasefire and mediation among the warring factions as far as Myanmar is concerned, what specific role do you see New Delhi playing here?
Myanmar is a very important neighbor of India, with which India shares a long land border, also shares a sea frontier with Myanmar. And the troubling thing in Myanmar is that outside powers, especially led by the US, are providing weapons to the rebels who are fighting the military junta. And some of these weapons are flowing into India, including drones into Manipur. The Myanmar situation is compounding India's internal security challenges in Manipur. And the irony is this, that while the US is seeking to oust the military regime in Myanmar, in next door Bangladesh is propping up the new military installed regime led by Mohammed Yunus. So the US doesn't pursue a consistent foreign policy. It pursues a foreign policy approach towards different regimes, depending on whether those regimes are friendly or unfriendly. Unfriendly regimes it seeks to topple, the way it went after Sheikh Hasina's government in Bangladesh. And another aspect that we should keep in mind, that as far as continental Southeast Asia is concerned,
Yes.
this region has traditionally had autocratic regimes. If you look at Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, these are not democracies. Even Thailand, until last year, was ruled by an army chief who had staged a coup in 2014. For 9 years, he ruled Thailand as a virtual dictator. So we shouldn't look at Myanmar in isolation. The fact is that autocratic traditions remain in place across continental Southeast Asia.
Well, sir, it's always a pleasure to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us in unfolding the larger ramifications. We will, of course, revert to you for regular updates. In other news, the Indian business tycoon and former Tata Group chairman Ratan Tata has passed away. Mr. Tata, who had headed India's largest conglomerate for over 20 years, had been receiving intensive care at a Mumbai hospital. He was famous for making large acquisitions, including buying the British tea firm Tetley in 2000 for $432 million and the Anglo-Dutch steelmaker Chorus in 2007 for $13 billion, which at the time was an unprecedented takeover of a foreign firm by an Indian company. Tata Motors then acquired two of Britain's most recognizable car brands, British Jaguar and Land Rover, from Ford Motor Co. In fact, Mr. Tata oversaw the construction of the Indica, the first car model designed and built in India. He also oversaw the design of the Nano, which was promoted as the world's cheapest car, contributing initial sketches for both models. In fact, he had recently backed startups, including e-scooter maker Ola and Goodfellows, a website aiming to foster an intergenerational friendship. It didn't end there. He was a licensed pilot. He was also known for being quiet, modest, and an animal lover. In the wake of his passing, tributes are pouring in from across India and around the world.
Ratan Tata, a doyen of corporate India, is no more. Born in 1937 to Naval and Sonu Tata, he was brought up by his formidable grandmother Navajbai Tata in a manor called Tata Palace in Mumbai. Ratan Tata was born into a family of great prestige, the lineage of Jamshedji Tata, the founder of the Tata Group and an integral part of India's history. Ratan Tata was schooled at Campion Cathedral and John Connon. He was driven to school in a Rolls-Royce. Ratan Tata went to Cornell University and fell in love with America. He wanted to settle down in Los Angeles, but destiny had other plans for him. With his grandmother falling ill, he was compelled to return to India. A turbulent relationship with his father, Naval Tata, pushed Ratan Tata to apply for a job at IBM. His father was not happy. Naval Tata asked his son to tie up a resume and offered him a job with Tata Industries in 1962. He would go on to join TISCO, now called Tata Steel, in 1963. When Ratan Tata took over from his father as chairman of the Tata Group in 1991, India too was pivoting. License Raj was being revoked, the economy was being liberalized, and it was Ratan Tata's time in the sun. In the early 2000s, Ratan Tata had a string of high-profile acquisitions to his credit. Tetley, Chorus, Jaguar Land Rover and Daewoo took the Tata and Indian flag abroad. In 2008, he created history with the launch of the cheapest car in the world, the Nano, priced at 1 lakh rupees. He was also awarded the Padma Vibhushan that year. From telecom to software, manufacturing to aviation, FMCG to garments, the Tata Group has expanded across industries under Ratan Tata's watch. The conglomerate is worth over 30,000 crore rupees as of March this year. In 2008, when the Taj Hotel in Mumbai came under a terror attack, Ratan Tata showed great compassion and resilience during its aftermath. He stepped down as the chairman of Tata Sons in 2012 after 50 years and was appointed as chairman emeritus. A bitter fight with his appointed successor, Cyrus Mistry, over his handling of the group led to the ouster of Mistry. While propelling the group towards growth, he continued to indulge in his three loves, that is flying, fast cars and scuba diving. He was also a champion of startups and invested in successful companies like Lenskart, Urban Company, Bluestone and Ola Electric. Ratan Tata was well known to be very fond of his German shepherds Tito and Tango, and lived a simple life even as he created great wealth for fellow Indians.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
And impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
To the seat of power, Delhi.
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
From the heart of city in Beirut, a city which is scarred by violence and caught between the crossfire between Israel and Hezbollah. A war which started a year ago between Israel and Hamas has now spilled over to Lebanon. NDTV is on the ground to bring latest updates, in-depth analysis and how the evolving war has impacted this country. Stay tuned for latest updates.
कि जिसकी सरकार सेंटर में हुई है उसी की सरकार प्रदेश में होती है।
एंटी इनकम्बेंसी को कैसे देख रहे हैं? इनकम्बेंसी नहीं है,
प्रो इनकम्बेंसी।
कांग्रेस आ रही है, भाजपा जा रही है।
Congress is going to form the government in Haryana with a big majority.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to
Well, Chinese stocks have suffered their worst fall in 27 years after efforts by Beijing to stimulate the world's second largest economy disappointed investors. Stock markets in Asia fell sharply after China's top economic planning authority failed to announce further measures to improve flagging growth. And finally, scientists John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Physics for discoveries and inventions that enable machine learning within artificial neural networks. This award comes with a prize sum of $1.1 million, which is shared between the winners if there are several. The physics prize is awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. Thanks for investing your time and watching this edition of The World 24/7. We'll keep tracking the latest for you. Do stay tuned.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
From the heart of city in Beirut, a city which is scarred by violence and caught between the crossfire between Israel and Hezbollah. A war which started a year ago between Israel and Hamas has now spilled over to Lebanon. NDTV is on the ground to bring latest updates, in-depth analysis and how the evolving war has impacted this country. Stay tuned for latest updates.
कि जिसकी सरकार सेंटर में हुई है उसी की सरकार प्रदेश में होती है।
एंटी इनकम्बेंसी को कैसे देख रहे हैं? इनकम्बेंसी नहीं है,
प्रो इनकम्बेंसी।
कांग्रेस आ रही है, भाजपा जा रही है।
Congress is going to form the government in Haryana with a big majority.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring
Good morning, everybody. You're watching NDTV and this is The Breakfast Show. The legacy of Ratan Tata is what the country is talking about. Mourning the death of the industrialist, Ratan Tata has passed away. In other news, talks of new cabinet formation, both Haryana and J&K. We'll get you all that and more. But first, It's the end of an era. Ratan Tata dies at 86. Ratan Tata, one of India's iconic business leaders and former chairman of the Tata Group, has passed away at the age of 86. Haryana government formation, BJP is weighing caste balance. Talks are underway. J&K key National Conference MLAs meet today. Umar Abdullah is all set to be the Chief Minister. In Delhi, there's a new political flashpoint between LG and Aam Aadmi Party. It's a face-off over the Chief Minister's residence. Well, the conflict in Middle East has intensified. NDTV's Mohammad Ghazali is reporting from Lebanon. Israel's military has said that its troops have eliminated terrorists during close-quarter encounters and in aerial strikes over the previous 24 hours, adding that 100 Hezbollah targets have been destroyed. Aerial bombardments have been going on in Beirut. NDTV's Mohammad Ghazali reports from the front lines. Hurricane Milton makes a landfall in Florida. Warnings of life-threatening storm surge. Chairman Emeritus of Tata Sons and recipient of India's second highest civilian honour, Padma Vibhushan Ratan Tata, passed away on Wednesday at Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital. He was 86 years old. Tata was in critical condition and he was under intensive care. Mr. Tata had said on Monday that he was undergoing routine medical investigations due to his age and related medical conditions. Maharashtra government has declared a day of mourning in the state to pay tributes to Ratan Tata. The Chief Minister's office has made this announcement. Ratan Tata's mortal remains will be kept at the National Centre for Performing Arts in South Mumbai, and his last rites will be performed in Worli area of Mumbai later in the day. In 2008, Ratan Tata received the Padma Vibhushan, which is the second highest civilian honour in India. After receiving the Padma Bhushan in 2000, he joined the Tata Group in 1961, where he worked on the shop floor of Tata Steel. He later succeeded J.R.D. Tata as chairman of Tata Sons upon the latter's retirement in 1991. It was under his tenure the Tata Group acquired Tetley, Jaguar Land Rover and Chorus in an attempt to turn Tata from a largely India-centric group into a global business. Tributes have started pouring in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the death of Ratan Tata, calling him a visionary business leader, a compassionate soul and an extraordinary human being. I have my colleague Radhika joining us with more details on this. Radhika, there's so much talk about the legacy that Mr. Ratan Tata leaves behind. He had been updating people with his posts about his health conditions. Tell us what is expected today.
That's right, Vasudha. There had been outpouring of tributes to Ratan Tata since late last night. The entire nation are paying their tributes, including the Prime Minister of the country and several from the industry, including the Ambanis and Adanis. Last night, of course, Chief Minister of Maharashtra as well as Deputy CM of Maharashtra visited the hospital Breach Candy. Soon after the news, Mukesh Ambani was also among the industrialists who visited Breach Candy, where Ratan Tata breathed his last, post which his mortal remains has been brought to his home in Colaba, outside of where I'm standing at this point. I'll just show you what's happening here. Of course, there's immense security. As you can see, the media presence is also immense here. This is the scene since last night, and we've been seeing, number of people paying tributes. And one of the reasons why his family and, of course, Tata Trust, Tata Sons decided to sort of have this public tribute to the visionary industrialist. In fact, his mortal remains will be kept at NCPA from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., at which time public can pay their respect, pay their tributes and honor to the industrialist for a matter of 5 hours. His mortal remains will be kept, after which, of course, here the funeral will be conducted. Last rites will be conducted in Worli area. Yes, it will be conducted with state honours. This is something Chief Minister Eknath Shinde did say, last rites to be performed with state honours. State mourning has been declared on Thursday, after which, of course, now final rites will happen after his mortal remains will be kept at NCPA for a matter of 5 hours. Now, to talk about the man himself, of course, Ratan Tata was a man with a deep sense of purpose and a strong business ethic, something that people talk about more than, his expansion within industries, within various sectors. People do talk about the humility of Ratan Tata all the time, the fact that he was approachable, the fact that he was a mentor to many, and the fact that he had a deep sense of purpose. He believed in giving back to the society. His last project, of course, was the small animal hospital that he had created just a while ago as a result of his love for canines over the last several years. So that was one of his last pet project, that he had created in Mumbai. Of course, when one has to talk about achievements and milestones, it will not end. So, but at this point, what I can say, as far as the schedule for today is concerned, is that his mortal remains will be taken to NCPA, after which the last rites will be conducted with full state honours, and we can expect a lot of VIP movement in his residence as well as at NCPA from political leaders, a cross-section of people, celebrities, industrialists, of course, will be making a beeline to pay their last tributes to the visionary leader.
Of Indian industry, Ratan Tata has passed away, and there's so much to talk about him, and clearly there is another side to him, like we're talking about his love for dogs and also philanthropy, and Mumbai has been at the center of his vision, for philanthropy, be it the Tata Institute of Social Sciences or for that matter TIFR. Tell us, how do people of Mumbai, the city that he spent a lot of his life in, how is Mumbai reacting to this? We know what the CM has said. How are common people reacting to his passing away?
As far as common people are concerned, when you say Ratan Tata to anybody, it is his humility, the fact that he has only believed in giving back to the society that comes to many people's mind. Even when you speak to entrepreneurs, people who work in a Tata Group, be it TCS, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, some of them in senior positions, they speak about how Ratan Tata does pay a visit to several of the senior executives, does pep talks, is approachable, somebody who is rooted to several causes, be it healthcare, be it education, rural life, or any of the causes that that he's been working on. He's deeply rooted to many of these causes. A deep sense of purpose is something that several people talk about when they talk about Ratan Tata. It's not just about his expansion in the industry. Of course, his milestones are enormous, be it in the form of acquisitions in Tetley, or the Chorus acquisition, or even his investments in multiple startups, especially over the last few years after he stepped down as the chairman, or the launch of Tata Nano, which many people talk about, because he was committed to bringing affordable cars to the middle class. He was committed to doing things for the poor, which is why he had invested quite a lot. He had donated quite a lot to healthcare as well as education. So for the middle class, he did build Tata Nano. It was a dream come true for millions of Indians. So that is again his cause and his contributions to the public. Somebody who did not chase the billionaire tag. This is something that people within the Tata Group keep talking about. Somebody who did not chase the billionaire tag, somebody who lived a simple life, somebody who was approachable, unassuming and shy. So this is what, he exemplified over the last several years. So this is, of course, a deep loss to the nation. He leaves behind a legacy that perhaps cannot be replaced. But as of now, of course, there's outpouring of tributes, which shows the man and his contributions over the last many decades.
Also, Radhika, just quickly also tell us a little bit about the tributes that have poured in because not just the Prime Minister, the President also has reacted to his passing away. The Prime Minister has called him an extraordinary human being, and President Draupadi Murmu has said that India has lost an icon who blended corporate growth with nation building and excellence with ethics.
Absolutely, rightfully so and expectedly so. Outpouring of tributes, as I've been mentioning since last night. Prime Minister Modi was among the first to pay tributes, post which, of course, chief ministers of almost every state have been paying tributes. President of the country, and then, of course, every big industrialist, be it the Birlas, be it the Ambanis or the Adanis, they had been paying tributes since last night. Goenka as well. And also people from within the entertainment industry as well. Some of them talking about the anecdotes of meetings with Ratan Tata. Several journalists also over the last several years who had, perhaps interviewed him, speaking about their interactions with him. Of course, going back down the memory lane of interactions with him, something that even Prime Minister Modi did speak of his interactions when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and of course, even over the last several years as well. So yes, tributes pouring in. Yesterday, Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Eknath Shinde, as well as Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis visited the hospital soon after the news broke. And of course, Mukesh Ambani was also among the first visitors to the hospital. And over the next few hours, not entirely certain if Prime Minister Modi will be, paying his tributes in person, but many within the industry, many within the corporate circles, many within the entertainment industry, and of course from political circles will be paying their tributes and honors to Ratan Tata in the next few hours.
Saying from NDTV Prophet. Charu, it is a sad day, passing away of India's industry icon, but Ratan Tata also leaves behind a legacy that's rich in philanthropy, and also he was somebody who expanded the global footprint of the Tata Group. Can you tell us a little bit about his life and his achievements?
Hi, so as we all know, Mr. Tata took his last breath at the age of 86 years at the Breach Candy Hospital last night, and he had not been well for quite for the recent past, since October 7th, even though we were told through social media accounts that he is doing well. However, the sad news of his demise came last night. Now we are outside his residence in Kolaba, right outside the gate of his house, and a lot of people, a lot of common people, media houses, media personnel are here to get to know about further developments. All other formalities and developments are going to be taking place at NCPA. However, the dignitaries and all the people who are supposed to pay their respects and are going to be meeting him are also going to be coming at the NCPA itself. Now we are outside his residence and seeing what other developments are going to be taking place. As we all know that he spent a lot of time towards philanthropy, a lot of his wealth, a lot of his time, a lot of his efforts towards startups as well. And we also know that the startups that he invested in time in have also done really well, and it is a sad day for the industrial part of our country.
Also, here's a special report on the life and legacy of Ratan Tata.
Ratan Tata, a doyen of corporate India, is no more. Born in 1937 to Naval and Sonu Tata, he was brought up by his formidable grandmother Nawajbai Tata in a manor called Tata Palace in Mumbai. Ratan Tata was born into a family of great prestige, the lineage of Jamshedji Tata, the founder of the Tata Group and an integral part of India's history. Ratan Tata was schooled at Campion Cathedral and John Connon. He was driven to school in a Rolls-Royce. Ratan Tata went to Cornell University and fell in love with America. He wanted to settle down in Los Angeles, but destiny had other plans for him. With his grandmother falling ill, he was compelled to return to India. A turbulent relationship with his father, Naval Tata, pushed Ratan Tata to apply for a job at IBM. His father was not happy. Naval Tata asked his son to tie up a resume and offered him a job with Tata Industries in 1962. He would go on to join Tisco, now called Tata Steel, in 1963. When Ratan Tata took over from his father as chairman of the Tata Group in 1991, India too was pivoting. License Raj was being revoked, the economy was liberalized, and it was Ratan Tata's time in the sun. In the early 2000s, Ratan Tata had a string of high-profile acquisitions to his credit. Tetley, Chorus, Jaguar Land Rover and Daewoo took the Tata and Indian flag abroad. In 2008, he created history with the launch of the cheapest car in the world, the Nano, priced at 1 lakh rupees. He was also awarded the Padma Vibhushan that year. From telecom to software, manufacturing to aviation, FMCG to garments, the Tata Group has expanded across industries under Ratan Tata's watch. The conglomerate is worth over 30,000 crore rupees as of March this year. In 2008, when the Taj Hotel in Mumbai came under a terror attack, Ratan Tata showed great compassion and resilience during its aftermath. He stepped down as the chairman of Tata Sons in 2012 after 50 years and was appointed as chairman emeritus. A bitter fight with his appointed successor, Cyrus Mistry, over his handling of the group led to the ouster of Mistry. While propelling the group towards growth, he continued to indulge in his 3 loves, that is flying, fast cars and scuba diving. He was also a champion of startups and invested in successful companies like Lenskart, Urban Company, Bluestone and Ola Electric. Ratan Tata was well known to be very fond of his German shepherds Tito and Tango, and lived a simple life even as he created great wealth for fellow Indians.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
New day, new show, a new experience.
Start your day with the news, not views.
We bring you stories that matter
and impact your life.
News that informs and keeps you ahead. From Maximum City, Mumbai,
to the seat of power, Delhi,
NDTV brings you the best breakfast show. Breakfast news on NDTV, 8 a.m. every day.
NDTV World Summit 2024, October 21st and 22nd, only on NDTV Network.
From the heart of city in Beirut, a city which is scarred by violence and caught between the crossfire between Israel and Hezbollah. A war which started a year ago between Israel and Hamas has now spilled over to Lebanon. NDTV is on the ground to bring latest updates, in-depth analysis and how the evolving war has impacted this country. Stay tuned for latest updates.
कि जिसकी सरकार सेंटर में हुई है उसी की सरकार प्रदेश में होती है।
एंटी इनकम्बेंसी को कैसे देख रहे हैं? इनकम्बेंसी नहीं है,
प्रो इनकम्बेंसी।
कांग्रेस आ रही है, भाजपा जा रही है।
Congress is going to form the government in Haryana with a big majority.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Welcome back. BJP has struck a hat-trick in Haryana, and a day after the assembly election results were announced, leaders of the winning parties, in fact BJP in Haryana National Conference, Congress Alliance in Jammu and Kashmir, were engaged in hectic political activity on Wednesday, and today is a new day in Haryana. The party, of course, has struck a hat-trick, and now talks are underway to ensure that the new BJP cabinet has new faces. At least 7 ministers and the assembly speaker have lost elections, and a lot of new faces have won, which means the new cabinet will have fresh faces and also people from different castes and communities that have really voted for the BJP. Several BJP leaders, including incumbent Chief Minister Nayaab Singh Saini, who is likely to retain the position, were in Delhi yesterday to meet the Prime Minister and other top leaders. The new government, what we understand, is expected to take charge after the 12th of October, once the Dussehra is over on Wednesday. The BJP, in fact, got a further boost in Haryana, with 3 independents also announcing their support to the party, effectively taking the BJP's tally to a very comfortable 51. And joining me now is Gurpreet, who has been reporting on the Haryana developments. Gurpreet, what I hear is intense lobbying has already begun for ministerial berths, which is something that is expected. Several legislators of the BJP are meeting senior leaders. They are already making a beeline to Delhi to meet the central leadership to ensure that they get something. But of course, this is not going to be an easy job, but of course the central leadership is expected to take a call. What are we hearing on the new cabinet?
Well, what we can understand and what we have learned from the top state BJP leaders, they are very clear. The party high command is going to take a final call. What we have seen, and from the results also, we have seen the former Home Minister Anil Viz was able to win the election. At the same time, Mahipal Danda, who is also one of the ministers in the previous Nayaab Singh Saini's cabinet, he had won from Panipat, and at the same time, Moolchand Sharma, that was also former minister, he was also able to win. These 3 people are going to be adjusted because these are the senior people which the party high command as well as the state leader, they feel they will be able to get portfolio. We have seen the central leadership had made a full political strategy this time, and all the leaders, whether it's the state leader or the central leader, they are already mulling on the various angles. The main challenge which we can assess at this point of time, that is very clear. They want to make a balance for the portfolio, so that the way they are able to make a history in Haryana politics, that should not be disrupted at any cost. So that is the challenge before the party high command, and the state leaders, they are still tight-lipped because they know the central leadership is going to take a final call, and that is one of the reasons why the state leaders are going to national capital to meet all the top leadership, so that they will be able to make their way in the Nayaab Singh Saini's government, and they will be able to get this portfolio. So what we have learned within a few days and within 2 days, there will be more clarity, and central leadership will talk to the state leadership to finalize each and everything. And as of now, what we can understand, yesterday we have seen the Chief Minister of Haryana, Nap Singh Saini. He met all the top leaders. He has given his side of a list to the central leadership that these are the combinations which he wants that should be properly accommodated. So let's wait for some more time. There will be more clarity. We have seen the former Vidhan Sabha speaker from Panchkula. He has already been lost. So it seems there will be new cabinet under the chief ministership of Nap Singh Saini. Back to studio.
Gurpreet, at least 7 ministers have lost and also the assembly speaker. So that is quite interesting. In fact, it really, reminds me of the situation in Madhya Pradesh where a lot of senior ministers lost elections. And even in Haryana, we have heard people like Ravinderjeet, talking about the influence that he has in southern part of Haryana. So which is why, his supporters have been talking about him being the chief minister. But this time, the BJP has recorded an increase not just in seat share but also in vote share, with people from different parts of the state voting for the party. So, what kind of claims, what are the people, what are the top leaders of the party saying when it comes to the ministerial berths? Is it going to be representative, or is it going to be, exactly what the central leadership wants?
Well, what we have seen that the area which falls under NCR and specifically urban area, they are able to get a maximum vote share from the various cities, whether it's Gurugram, Panipat or maybe Sonipat. These areas, they are predominantly, they are able to get a maximum vote share. What we have learned from these areas, these people have been putting these words before the party high command. They are looking forward a topmost post after the chief minister. They are looking forward as a deputy chief minister, so that that area will be developed and that area should be get representation. At one point of time, we all know it was a stronghold of the Congress, and that is also a challenge for the BJP. They are trying to maintain that balance so that this area should be represented. And if we can talk about in nut and shell, as we have already known that most of the senior ministers, they were not able to make their way in this state politics, and now they have an open arena, they have a political arena where they can adjust the newcomers also, and some of the former ministers, whether it's the Mahipal Danda, the Mulchand Sharma or Anil Viz, the former home minister, they are going to be adjusted at a higher level. Now, the question is they also want to make a balance within the party so that there should not be any rebel within the party and there should not be any disagreement with the top leadership. That is the one of the reasons why they have been mulling over these points which has been given by the Chief Minister of Haryana, Nap Singh Saini, to the central leadership to think about all these things. We have seen some of the women candidates. We have seen yesterday Switri Jindal, she has also given a support to the party also. That has also added one more number in the total mark which they had already got. Now they are also looking these aspects. They want to make a balance so that one women minister should be from there. We have seen the Shruti Chaudhary, the Kiran Chaudhary's daughter. She is also make a way. She has just come from the Congress to BJP and she was able to win the election. So all these mathematics, all these calculations are being taken care of the party high command, and it seems that is one of the reasons why it takes time. And what we have learned from the sources also within the state politics also, they say maybe on 12th or maybe after 12th they will decide to hold this swearing-in ceremony, so that by the time they will have much time to talk to each and every leadership here in the state unit also, in the central unit also, so that they will be able to come to the consensus how they are going to make a balanced portfolio under the chief ministership of Nap Singh Saini. Back to studio.
Thank you, Gurpreet, for joining us with those details. Clearly, balance is the key word here. The BJP reviewing its caste, community and region calculations to ensure that the new cabinet that comes up in Haryana, where it has scored a hat-trick, a historic victory, is representative of all communities, people who have voted for the party in its record-breaking victory in Haryana. Moving on, in Srinagar, in J&K, a similar but slightly different situation is playing out, where the J&K has recorded a historic comeback. In fact, in Srinagar, top leaders of NC and Congress have already begun the spade work to form the first elected government in J&K in more than 6 years. Remember, it is the NC which has emerged as the predominant party in Kashmir with 42 seats. Congress has had a setback here as well. It has about 6 seats. This alliance now plans to announce the new chief minister in the next 2 days. But we know that we hear that it is going to be Omar Abdullah who's going to be leading. NC President Farooq Abdullah and Vice President Omar Abdullah have already been meeting the newly elected MLAs. In fact, Congress party leader, Congress party chief has said that we visited Dr. Abdullah and Omar Abdullah and congratulated them on the victory. An official discussion will take place after the meetings with legislative members and alliance partners. This is what Tariq Hamid Kharra has said. He's the chief of the Congress party in J&K. The NC will hold its first legislative party meeting today. It will also meet with its allies in the Congress party on Friday, which is tomorrow. And in this meeting, a governance model is expected to be decided. Joining me now is a panel of experts. We have Sandeep Shastri, and we have Professor Sandeep Shastri, and we also have Amitabh Tiwari, political commentators, both of them. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me on this show. To you, Professor Shastri, first, let's talk a little bit about J&K. It is not going to be easy for Omar Abdullah because his party's manifesto has a lot that will be a challenge for the centre to fulfill, but he has clearly said that he will be not in a conflict-ridden relationship with the centre, and he'll be doing the best for the people of J&K. What are the challenges that you see for the NC Congress government in J&K this time?
Thank you, Vasudha, for bringing me into the debate, and wonderful to be with Amitabh ji on this debate. You are fully right in saying that there is a very tightrope walk that Omar Abdullah will have to do. And we already have seen indications of this in the speeches that he has made till now, where he has said on NDTV when he came up for an interview there, he did say that I will keep Article 370 restoration on the side now and focus first on statehood. Now, that was one clear indication that he gave that what his focus would be. And he also said in that interview, which is important, that my focus would be ensuring that Jammu does not feel left out, Jammu is represented, and the aspirations of the people of Jammu are taken into account. This, I think, is very critical because you notice this divide between Kashmir and Jammu regions, and he has said he would try to take that, he would try and reduce that divide which seems to be there, and which is very visible in the election results. Thirdly, I think Omar Abdullah has said that he would like to have good equations with the central government and the Lieutenant Governor. And this is an important point because rather than going on the road of confrontation, he wants to go on the road of reconciliation. He wants to work with the center. And this, I think, would be a very, very positive mood again. Right. Fourth and last, I think Omar Abdullah's challenge would be how to meet the aspirations of these diverse sections which have voted the National Conference and the Congress to power. Now, there are multiple expectations. After 10 years, after 5 years, you have a government at the earlier state, now union territory level. And therefore, there would be tremendous expectations from Omar Abdullah and his government. How would he go about forming his government? Who would his ministers be? How much from the Congress? All these issues, I think, he will have to sort out. So as I said in the beginning, it's a very, very tightrope walk. Yes. But Omar Abdullah, being an experienced politician that he is, already having served as Chief Minister of the state, I am sure he is up to the challenge and willing to take it on given the mandate that he has received.
Right, Omar Abdullah striking a very cautious note there, like Professor Shastri is also saying. He said that the first business of the new cabinet will be to pass a resolution demanding a restoration of statehood for J&K, but clearly has also said that he will keep the conversation alive on Article 370, but he's not going to have a confrontation with the centre because he wants to focus on the interests of people of J&K. Amitabh Tiwari, let's talk about the other state that's making a lot of news. Tell us what is going to be challenging for the BJP, and I'm sure this is a challenge that the BJP loves, getting a very comfortable victory in a state, in a